Oh boy, I've been waiting to make this one. So Avatar is one of my favorite shows ever, and with the show finally being on Netflix, I feel it's a good time to talk about this show's world building. So yes, I know it's fictional, but just let me have my fanboy moment, alright? So just so you know, I'll just be covering the main Last Airbender world, no Korra, no comics, or the movie that never happened. There is no movie based on our franchise. Spoilers ahead. Okay, yes, I know Hello Future Me did an awesome video on the Fire and Earth Kingdoms, but we're gonna be covering the whole world and how each nation interacts with each other. So first, let me disband the biggest lie Katara told you.
Katara? But how?
There are more than 4 nations.
You lied to me!
So let's start with the Water Tribe. There's one tribe all the way in the North Pole and one all the way in the South. Throughout the show, the 2 tribes have never been shown to really communicate with each other that much.
Tonight, we celebrate the arrival of our brother and sister from the Southern Tribe.
I mean, no one in Hakoda's led force of Water Tribesmen are shown to be benders, so I guess there's no intertwined military or even foreign policy, as the Northern Water Tribe didn't seem too upset by the Fire Nation taking over the rest of the world until they finally invaded their own tribe. Now, the Air Nomads didn't have any armies, but with their Sky Bisons, communication could definitely have been much better between the 4 temples. But unfortunately, all of them are wiped out by the time the series starts, and we never really know for sure. However, it can be inferred that they pretty much govern themselves independently. The Earth Kingdom is much more like a confederation. Ba Sing Se pretty much does its own thing internally, pretending there's no war and all, but it still has control over the generals of the Earth Kingdom. Yet most of the towns and cities we see in the Earth Kingdom are pretty much doing their own thing. Omashu's king was allowed to surrender to the Fire Nation, the Chin village was allowed to worship a conqueror that the Avatar killed like 3 avatars ago, and no one came in to tell them to stop. Kyoshi Island has its own special police force, and I doubt anyone is telling the Sand or Swamp Benders what to do. Finally, that brings us to the Fire Nation, and the reason this place is so advanced is because, well, it's the only real nation out of the 4 nations. It's not sprawled across half the world like the Earth Kingdom, it's not split into multiple locations like the Air Temples, and it's not worlds apart like the Water Tribes. Plus, it's also got the perks of having messenger hawks and an advanced navy to facilitate communication. Add this to the fact that firebenders have a constant supply of energy themselves to smelt metal, and it's no wonder why the Fire Nation was the first nation to experience an industrial revolution. So in reality, there are around 12 nations in the Avatar world. Well, minus the 4 air temples. So in reality, the Fire Nation was the 2nd largest nation, and by the time it colonized the Earth Kingdom, it was the largest. So no wonder it was far more advanced than the other nations. It had far more resources. Another interesting thing I like about the Avatar world is that it mirrors the Asian cultures of our own world. The Air Nomads represent Tibetans and the Water Tribe represents the Inuits. I also like how, although these nations of the same benders are disconnected from each other, they both have a similar climate and terrain that effectively works best with their corresponding bending styles. The Earth Kingdom represents Qing Dynasty China, with the architecture, secret police, and Earth King literally looking like a grown-up Swang Tom. And the Fire Nation is based off of Imperial Japan, being an island nation with a powerful navy, colonizing the Earth Kingdom, and doing that thing that they did to a certain group of people. So to conclude, Avatar The Last Airbender is an amazing series that you really should have watched on Netflix before watching this, because I kinda spoiled a decent bit of it. So anyway, let me know if you guys want to see more breakdowns of fictional worlds geopolitics, because it's a lot less convoluted than the real world sometimes.